Dr. Lee, the director of Ilsen Hospital, is surprised that a patient with eternal slumber disease has awoken. This is an unprecedented event. However, Dr. Choi mentions that the patient's guardian is demanding she be discharged from the hospital immediately, asking what should they do. Dr. Lee denies the idea, saying that the patient was bedridden for over 4 years. Her condition is not yet stable. She probably can't even walk. But then Dr. Choi reveals that all her tests came back normal. She is completely healthy and can even walk on her own. Dr. Lee can't believe that someone who hasn't moved for the past 4 years has a perfectly functioning body. Dr. Choi speculates that maybe it's because of the life support machine. However, Dr. Lee states that even if she's fine, they can't just discharge her from the hospital. They must inform the medical community about this. Dr. Choi interjects, saying that he tried reasoning with the patient's guardian, but he's no ordinary person. Dr. Lee wonders who that might be. Dr. Choi reveals that it's Jin Woo, who recently became the country's 10th S-rank hunter. Dr. Lee immediately folds, saying that a hospital shouldn't keep a perfectly healthy patient from going home. It is only right to discharge the patient. Gina immediately rushes to the hospital as soon as she receives news about her mother. With tears flowing down her face, Gina calls out to her mother. Kyung-hee, their mother, is surprised to see how much Gina has grown. Gina runs into her mother's arms, unable to contain her emotions. Jin Woo watches this heartfelt reunion, knowing all his hard work has paid off. He feels like he's being rewarded for everything he's been through, but feels nervous that, as a hunter, he's crossed a bridge of no return. Jin Woo eventually walks out of the hospital. He finds a bench outside and sits down for a while. He realizes that he hasn't checked his phone in a while because he's been inside the demon's castle. He has a ton of missed calls, but he is sure if it's something urgent, they'll probably call him back soon enough. As Jin Woo browses through the internet, he notices headlines about a magic beast flying in the skies and wonders why the reporters are writing about this. Just then, he receives a call from Chairman Go Gun-hee from the Hunters Association. Jin Woo asks Mr. Go if something has happened. Chairman Go asks if Jin Woo has heard the news. Jin Woo assumes Chairman Go is talking about Kaisel and apologizes for it, but Chairman Go's confused tone indicates they are not talking about the same thing, so Jin Woo directly asks what he's talking about since he's been off the grid and hasn't had access to his phone. Chairman Go realizes that Jin Woo really hasn't heard anything and asks if it would be alright to tell him in person. Jin Woo agrees and goes to the Hunters Association. Chairman Go informs Jin Woo that an operation will launch in 4 days. They'll be going to Jeju Island to exterminate those ants. To pull it off, they need Jin Woo's help. He tells Jin Woo that all of South Korea has longed for the reclamation of Jeju Island and urges him to join the fight. However, under normal circumstances, Jin Woo would jump at the opportunity to go somewhere with high-ranking beasts to level up. But since his mother has just woken from her eternal slumber, his thoughts are consumed with concern for her and his sister. Suddenly, Jin Woo feels aggressive waves of mana, noting that hunters are fighting somewhere nearby. Chairman Go laughs, commenting that Jin Woo's senses are sharp and he's impressed Jin Woo felt that from such a distance away. Chairman Go states that the S-rank hunters are probably warming up in the gym right now. Perhaps that's what Jin Woo felt, adding that the hunters are warming up because there are only 4 days left until the Jeju Island Raid. The Japanese S-rank hunters, including Japan's greatest hunter, Goto Ryuji, have gathered. His name is one everyone has probably heard at least once, even if they're not a hunter. He then mildly asks Jin Woo if he would like to come with him to the gym. In the center of the room, Baek was sparring with a massive S-rank hunter and guildmaster of the Fame Guild, Ma Dongwook. Dongwook grabs Baek's shoulder, kicks his foot, and slams him to the ground while remarking that a young guy like Baek should be stronger than this. Baek states that he's no coach and starts clashing with Dongwook once again. Chairman Go points out that it's not very common to see this many S-rank hunters gathered in one place. The mana waves Jin Woo felt earlier probably came from them. As Jin Woo comments that Baek is struggling a bit, Jongin states that it's correct. However, if Baek Yoonho were to attack using full force, Ma Dongwook wouldn't be able to keep up. He then greets Jin Woo before stating that the person in the uniform over there is Ma Dongwook of the Fame Guild. Jin Woo questions why Baek isn't going all out and why he is holding back against someone as strong as Dongwook. Jong-in answers that Baek has an audience watching him, so fighting at maximum capacity would put him in an awkward position since Baek transforms into a monster when he gets serious. Jin Woo realizes that the rumors were true. He has the ability to transform. Jong-in also states that more hunters have gathered there for the raid. Izawa Ippei, Ishida Mari, Tanaka Kenzo, Hoshino Minoru, Kumamoto Atsushi, Tawata Kanai, Fujishima Tatsumi, Kei, Shimizu Akari, and Goto Ryuji. Jin Woo recognizes Goto Ryuji, the strongest hunter from Japan, immediately. As the gathered hunters observe the new arrival, Shimizu questions who he is. Their translator, Hanakawa, informs them that he's Sung Jin Woo, a hunter who has recently become an S rank. Goto wonders if Jin Woo is an assassin-type hunter. But even if he is, his presence cannot be easily hidden. He comments that Jin Woo must be quite an exceptional assassin. However, Hanakawa clarifies that Jin Woo is a mage-type hunter, which seems impossible to Goto until Hanakawa confirms it is officially verified. Lim Tae-gyu recognizes Jin Woo as the one who ruined Min Sung's debut. Cha Hai-in, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, deduces that Jin Woo is the reason the air feels different. Mari tries to talk about Jin Woo with Kei, but he dismisses her, telling her not to talk to him, adding that he feels like throwing up because of all the S ranks gathered there. When he notices Cha Hai-in, he speculates that Cha also has a sensitive nose like him, but must be a few tiers below him, as she is only using a handkerchief. Kei wonders if, by striking up a conversation, Cha would think he is hitting on her. If only he had learned some Korean beforehand. Meanwhile, Baek and Dongwook are still clashing with each other. Hanakawa wonders how these hunters are considered South Korea's strongest, commenting that they are mediocre at best, which Goto questions. Hanakawa states that she has been watching Goto's raids from the sidelines for quite some time now. Perhaps this is the reason why she is no longer impressed by S ranks. Goto, however, states that he doesn't agree with her, pointing out that there seem to be notable hunters over there. Cha Hai-in and Go Gun-hee, these two would give Japan's best hunters a run for their money. Just then, Park Jong-soo, the guildmaster of the Knights Guild, confronts Hanakawa, questioning how dare she call all the South Korean hunters mediocre. Does she think he wouldn't understand because she is speaking in Japanese? Jong-soo asserts that he'd have her know that he learned Japanese in high school as his second language. When Hanakawa comments that she has never heard of him before, Young Yoon-tae, the vice guildmaster of the Knights Guild, comes to his senior's rescue, yelling that Mr. Park is an A rank, not an S rank, so maybe that's why she hasn't heard of him. He adds that their guild is one of the 5 major guilds in South Korea, and that, out of all the guilds, they have recruited the largest number of A-rank hunters. Jong-soo tells Yoon-tae to stop, while Hanakawa asks if they will be joining the raid in Jeju as well. She thinks only S-rank hunters are allowed to participate. As they are talking in Korean, Goto asks Hanakawa what they are all talking about. Yoon-tae shouts that Mr. Park is on the defense team and is going to be in charge of blocking off the island. Hanakawa mocks them, saying that's good to hear. Can't assign an important task to an A rank. Goto urges Hanakawa to stop if she is being discourteous right now. Jong-soo tells Yoon-tae to knock it off as well, commenting that she's just an interpreter tagging along. What would she know? This ticks off Hanekawa, who reveals herself as an A-rank hunter from Japan, challenging Jong-soo's dismissive attitude. She mocks Jong-soo, saying if he's afraid he can't take on a mere interpreter, that's simply tagging along. Jong-soo tells Hanekawa to quit with the dissing, but she mocks him further, asking if he's a non-combatant hunter. This leads to a confrontation where Jong-soo proposes a simple contest. However, he lays down some rules, better than just aimlessly duking it out. The rules are simple. The first person to grab the opponent's wrist wins. The one who gets their wrist caught loses. Hanekawa thinks that even if she goes in throwing punches at him, the fight would be over if he grabs her. It looks like she won't be able to attack right away. She guesses they'll have to play mind games with each other. However, Hanekawa comments on Jong-soo's stance, as he is putting his hands in his pockets. Jong-soo tells her not to worry. He won't take his hands out unless it's to grab her wrist. The confrontation between Hanekawa and Jong-soo escalates quickly. Despite Hanekawa's swift and aggressive attacks, Jong-soo dodges effortlessly. Hanekawa thinks she is going to wipe that pretentious look off his face, but to her surprise, her hand gets hit back. Jong-soo merely comments that he didn't hit her. It's just a little shove, and asks if she understands what he is saying. But Miss Interpreter remarks that she is having a hard time understanding his accent and tells Jong-soo that he looks lame, trying to act all cool in those ripped pants. Seeing Jong-soo distracted, Hanekawa takes her chance to finish the contest. However, Jong-soo grabs her wrist, ending the contest and demonstrating his superior combat experience. Jong-soo remarks that Hanekawa is the type of hunter who always hides behind tanks. It also seems like she has no one-on-one combat experience. He adds that here in South Korea, they run into troublemakers every now and then, which means they sometimes have to fight their own kind. When worse comes to worst, they even gotta kill them sometimes. Unlike magic beasts, the way a human moves isn't so simple, so you're dead meat if you can't predict your opponent's next move. If he were wielding a sword, he would have sliced her throat, not her wrist. Goto, observing the match, suggests sparring matches according to the rules used just now between the S-rank hunters from both countries to build trust. Chairman Go Gun-hee guesses that Goto wants to see how strong they all are and agrees to it. However, he suggests excluding the mage-type and non-combatant hunters since it'd be difficult to tell who won. Beck also adds a few more rules while they are at it. You win if you touch your opponent's wrist or back, or if you knock them down. And also have multiple hunters go against each other instead of having one-on-one matches. So that means you can't pick and choose your opponent. Goto thinks that with these new rules, knocking out one person would be enough to turn the tides. But then again, the assassin-type hunters would have too much of an advantage otherwise. Though, he agrees to it. Korea sends out Baek Yoonho, Ma Dong-wook, Cha Hae-in, and Lim Tae-gyu, while Japan fields Tanaka Kenzo, Hoshino Minoru, Kumamoto Atsushi, and Tawada Kanai. Meanwhile, Jin Woo notices that Goto Ryuji isn't participating and realizes that perhaps all he wants is to see how strong they are. But still, a match between S-rank hunters is hard to come by, so he's glad he came. Kenzo has already gotten a good read on Ma Dong-wook and Baek Yoonho from the fight they had earlier, but he gets the feeling that Baek Yoonho is hiding something up his sleeve. On the other side, a 4-on-4 match seems to imply that Tawada Kanai's opponent will be Cha Hae-in. Tae-gyu seems hopeful that their opponents will take it easy on them, while Dong-wook announces the start of the match. Kenzo notices that Ma Dong-wook has the ability to grow bigger. It looks like he prefers a battle of strength. Both Kenzo and Ma Dong-wook clash with each other to see who's stronger. Tae-gyu notes his opponent's speed, deducing that close quarters combat will put him at a disadvantage. Well, creating distance is his specialty, and so is attacking from a distance, a strategy he promptly adopts by launching a magic arrow through walls and the floor. Kenzo realizes that the Korean team doesn't want this to be a one-on-one battle, so their only option is to have Hoshino take care of Tae-gyu as quickly as possible. Gun-hee, observing, remarks that the interior of this facility was fortified using essence stones of the highest quality. Average hunters wouldn't be able to make so much as a dent on the walls, but the place has been completely wrecked in a matter of seconds. He laments that it's quite regrettable that they're sending only their young hunters into the battlefield. Beck notes that their opponents are some of the most powerful S-ranks in the world. They have to brace themselves and be prepared to not just grab their wrists but also break them if they need to. Kumamoto observes that Baek seems to be wasting his energy, adding that he's not going to go for his wrists or back. He won't follow his silly rules. The only rule he lives by is the survival of the fittest, and he attacks Baek from behind. However, Beck dodges the attack and notes that Kumamoto had the intent to kill just now, but wonders, why did he hesitate? Could he be scared? Putting a hand on his chest, Kumamoto remarks that he hesitated again. Maybe he's really not cut out to be a hunter. Beck contemplates whether Kumamoto's got great judgment or if he's just a coward. He doesn't seem aggressive, though, and realizes that perhaps he was mistaken back then. Maybe Goto wanted them to go against each other so that he could test Kumamoto's strength. Maybe Goto wanted to see if he was prepared to fight the ants. Beck prepares to attack, remarking that Goto's using him for his little test. So, he should give them a little taste of his true powers. Scared by the changed look in Baek's eyes, Kumamoto wishes to escape the confrontation altogether. Without hesitation, Beck surges forward with incredible speed, his sharp claws aimed directly at Kumamoto, telling him that he's a pathetic coward. What a pity. He's probably one of the top S-ranks out there. As the match progresses, Jong-soo marvels at the monstrous power levels present, realizing his match earlier was nothing but child's play compared to this. Meanwhile, Tanaka Kenzo defeats Ma Dong-wook, with the latter laughing off his unexpected defeat, saying he can't believe he got drilled into the ground. This is a first for him, while Hoshino Minoru overcomes Lim Tae-gyu. Baek prepares for his turn as 3 Japanese hunters team up on him. He feels underestimated, that they think he's an easier target than Cha Hae-in. Tawata, sparring with Hae-in, struggles to keep up with her. She thought Cha Hae-in was just fast, but she was wrong. She can't read the pattern of her movements. Cha Hae-in's nickname is the Dancer. She was given this name because of the way she'd swiftly kill one beast after the other, as if she were dancing, but she banned the use of the name because she found it embarrassing, so not many people call her by that nickname. Hae-in deftly dodges Tawata's attacks and taps her out of the sparring match, quickly moving to help Beck, who is facing 2 opponents. As she tries to intervene, Kumamoto attempts a sneak attack, noting that the other 2 over there should be able to handle Beck, so he should just focus on dealing with Hae-in. but Hae-in responds with blinding speed, landing a flurry of punches that leave observers in awe. They can't believe how many times she hit him in the blink of an eye. No one could have blocked an attack like that. Hae-in realizes that she beat him up in an instinctive response. She didn't mean to do that. Observers note that once Kumamoto gets angry, he turns into a completely different person. He doesn't just turn into a different person, he loses all sense of rational thinking. He can't remember anything after he's done fighting. A guy like that isn't fit to be in a strike squad. You never know when he'll start acting out on his own or attack his fellow teammates. Still, he's capable of clearing a B-rank gate all by himself. Though if he can't work with a team to clear an A-rank gate, then what's the point of him being an S-rank hunter? Goto orders his team that if Kumamoto ever ends up attacking one of the South Korean hunters, they must stop him immediately, but leave him be for now. This is just a test. Hanakawa remarks that now's probably the best time to intervene though. They can't afford to compensate for the damages he's causing. As Kumamoto prepares to attack Hae-in again, Jin Woo intervenes, cautioning that they are getting too carried away in what was supposed to be a sparring session. Kumamoto, enraged, tries to grab Jin Woo, only to be slammed to the ground. Goto, puzzled by Jin Woo's movements, questions if Jin Woo is truly a mage-type hunter, to which Hanakawa confirms, saying it's according to the official statement that was released. Goto guesses the quickest way to find out is to check for himself. Jin Woo suggests calling the match a loss for the South Korean hunters. Baek is caught as well, acknowledging that the Japanese hunters are overwhelmingly stronger than them. Realizing that he wouldn't have been able to do anything even if he had transformed, Goto approaches Jin Woo with a direct request for a one-on-one fight. Jin Woo notes that Goto's body language tells him he wants a fight. He doesn't have to hear the translation. Jin Woo ponders if Goto wants to see how skilled he is. Though Jin Woo is not sure if Goto has an ulterior motive, this is a good chance for him to test how much stronger he's gotten since the Demon's Castle. Seeing Jin Woo smiling, Goto notes that Jin Woo has the guts to smile in his presence. Hanakawa conveys to Goto that Sung Jin Woo has agreed to the fight, but under one condition. He will accept Goto's invitation only if he agrees to use full force. Angered, Goto wonders if Jin Woo is being serious right now, but he finds it interesting, noting that Shimizu here is an S-rank healer, so they won't suffer any serious injuries. Goto orders Shimizu to heal anyone who gets hurt, including Jin Woo, who will be needing her assistance in a few minutes. Dongwook comments that Jin Woo's got guts for accepting a match against Goto Ryuji, while Hae-in is deeply worried for Jin Woo's safety. However, she remembers how he fought an A-rank dungeon boss and over 100 high orcs. Baek asks Hae-in if she is okay being around all these hunters today. She replies that she can't always be covering her nose, especially once they get to Jeju Island, and tells Baek that he said he was an acquaintance of Mr. Sung. Then, shouldn't he be trying to stop him from accepting this fight? Baek responds that normally he would, considering Jin Woo's opponent is Goto Ryuji. Hae-in asks why not. Baek replies that it's for the same reason as her. He's looking forward to seeing them fight just like she is, pondering that if Sung really is a hunter capable of leveling up, then he might have become even stronger. Goto attacks as soon as Jin Woo says to start the fight. Goto swings at the space where Jin Woo's head had been. He is shocked to find he missed and ponders that he's not buying that Jin Woo is a mage-type hunter. Jin Woo's movements are agile and his footsteps are silent. Jin Woo may be able to deceive others, but not him. Goto declares that he'll strip away that disguise of Jin Woo. He'll expose him and show the world exactly what he is. Jin Woo notes that he can sense that Goto is of a different caliber than those other S ranks, but he can still dodge his attacks. Goto throws a slap attack at Jin Woo, but Jin Woo dodges it with a smile, enraging Goto. Taegyu comments that Goto's attacks are scary. His eyes can't keep track of him. While Dongwook adds that Sung Jin Woo's hanging in there, though. His opponent is the strongest hunter in Japan, so the fact that he's even able to avoid his attacks is a feat in and of itself. Hae-in notes that Sung Jin Woo isn't just hanging in there, he's getting Goto to make attack after attack. As Jin Woo keeps dodging the attacks, Goto realizes that he won't be able to hit Jin Woo unless he goes all out. However, his frustration boils over, and he decides that he's going to kill Jin Woo. At that moment, Jin Woo receives a system notification warning him of the imminent danger. The system alerts him to the murderous intent coming from someone nearby. Goto, consumed by rage, launches a powerful and precise attack aimed at Jin Woo. His sharp nails graze Jin Woo's cheek, narrowly missing his eye. Instinctively, Jin Woo grabs Goto's hand, stopping the attack. As Jin Woo holds Goto's hand, he realizes that if he keeps playing around, he'll end up getting an urgent quest like he did with Hwang Dong-suk and Kang Tae-shik. Jin Woo tells Goto that if he had been just a second too late, he'd have lost an eye. Goto, on the other hand, is shocked and ponders how Jin Woo is so strong. To make matters worse, Jin Woo could have grabbed his wrist, but he purposefully grabbed his hand instead. Goto asks Jin Woo if he's playing around with him. Jin Woo, with a smirk, replies that he has no idea what Goto just said, but the game would have been over if he had grabbed his wrist, claiming that he's sure Goto doesn't want things to end here. Both men stare at each other, the tension between them building as they prepare to turn their sparring into a real battle. However, before they can escalate further, Baek and Hai-In intervene. Baek grabs Jin Woo's shoulder while Hai-In holds onto his wrist with all her strength, restraining him. On the other side, Hoshino Minoru pulls Goto back while Kei casts an ice spell to create a wall of ice between them, preventing the situation from spiraling out of control. Baek tells Jin Woo to stop, as Goto is in charge of leading the Japanese team in a few days. Hai-In adds that nobody will be able to handle the consequences if something were to happen to him. Baek tells Hanakawa that this sparring session has gotten way too heated. Let's call it a day. Baek asks Jin Woo if he overstepped his boundaries. Jin Woo merely states that not at all, while Dongwook remarks with a laugh that he can't believe Jin Woo went up against the great Goto Ryuji and walked away with a tiny cut on his cheek. He commends Jin Woo, saying he's got a spectacular build, and asks him if he doesn't already have a guild in mind, how about he comes and joins theirs, as his guild is chock full of mages, and they don't have enough fighters. Jong-in tells Dongwook that Jin Woo is a mage-type hunter, shocking him. Jin Woo notes that he got a bit too excited. He now has a good grasp of how strong everyone is, and he's had close encounters with Go Gun-hee, Choi Jong-in, Cha Hai-in, Baek Yoon-ho, and Goto Ryuji so far. But even though they're all S-ranks, they haven't noticed the soldiers hiding in his shadow. Not even Goto Ryuji has sensed anything out of place. Chairman Go approaches Jin Woo, who informs him of his decision not to participate in the upcoming raid. Gun-hee is taken aback by this unexpected response. Meanwhile, Goto assesses his own condition. Despite the cool weather, sweat beads on his forehead. At the White Tiger Guild, Baek takes a deep breath. He realizes that a hunter who can become stronger actually exists. He wonders how much Jin Woo is worth. Trying to recruit Sung Jin Woo feels like just a waste of time and energy. However, there are many other ways to maintain a relationship with a talented hunter. Just then, he receives a list of hunters participating in the upcoming Search and Destroy mission. His eyes widen in shock, and he springs up from the bench as there is no mention of Sung Jin Woo on the list. Elsewhere, Goto contacts the Vice Guildmaster of the Blade Guild, Sugimoto Reiji, who is also an S-rank hunter. Goto informs Sugimoto that there is a pretty skilled hunter in South Korea. Sugimoto, however, is certain that he can't be as strong as Goto. When Goto remarks that he doubts that, Sugimoto asks for the hunter's name. Goto responds that the hunter's name is Sung Jin Woo. He has undergone a second awakening and was recently evaluated as an S rank. Sugimoto finds it odd that Jin Woo's name isn't listed. Goto asks what Sugimoto means by that. Sugimoto apologizes, saying he didn't explain. South Korea has just sent over their list of hunters: Choi Jong-in, Ma Dong-wook, Baek Yoon-ho, Cha Hai-in, Lim Tae-gyu, and Min Byung-gu. These 6 hunters make up the South Korean team heading to Jeju Island in 4 days' time. Goto finds it impossible, stating that Chairman Go would be crazy not to include a hunter as strong as Sung Jin Woo in his raid team. Sugimoto tells him there is no need to worry. 16 S-rank hunters will participate in this upcoming raid. Everything will be fine. Goto agrees, guessing he's worried for nothing, and tells Sugimoto he'll give him another call once the raid begins. At Halasan Beng Nok Dam, a crater lake that sits on top of Mount Hala, the name translates to White Deer Lake, the Queen of the Ants recognizes that they must abandon this island. There is no food here. Their children are eating their own children. There is no longer any food to support the citizens of their kingdom. She cannot allow this to continue. They need a stronger soldier, an all-powerful soldier to lead the citizens of their kingdom. For the sake of their kingdom, she must make the enemies who stand in their way tremble in fear. Her resolve solidifies as she repeats her command. They must become stronger. The future of their kingdom depends on it. She urges her children to consume everything and grow stronger, knowing this is their only chance for survival. In response to her plea, a new, powerful entity emerges from the depths of the colony with a deafening screech. Meanwhile, Jin Woo brings his mother, Kyung-hae, home. When they open the apartment door, they are greeted by the huge mess Gina has made in the living room while Jin Woo was inside the demon's castle. Jinwoo pinches Gina's cheek as Kyung-hae laughs and remarks that it's been 4 years since she's done housework. How about they all clean together? As all three of them start cleaning the apartment, the mother comments that this house has become so run down. There is grit and grime in hidden places. Jinwoo responds that, of course, they've been living here since they were kids. Mother asks Jinwoo if he's received any news about his father while she was asleep. Jinwoo replies that he hasn't, while pondering what his mother would say if he told her he followed in his father's footsteps and became a hunter. His father is the reason why she doesn't want to leave this old apartment. Even though Jinwoo has already made more money than most people will ever see in a lifetime, his father is the reason why they're still here, paying rent every month. Although his father went missing years ago, she's still waiting for him, hoping he'll come back one day. This family, no, his mother, needs him. The Jeju Island Raid is important, but not as important as his family. For now, being with his mother and sister is his priority. The story goes viral. A reporter announces that the ants are evolving at an astounding speed. When the number of mutants increases and takes over the entire colony, they call that evolution. He shows a picture of an ant photographed during the first and second search and destroy missions. In the beginning, they crawled on the ground like regular ants. There didn't seem to be any difference in appearance other than their gigantic size. Then a picture taken during the third search and destroy mission shows ants standing upright like humans, with smaller heads allowing for more nimble movement. They now use 4 of their legs as hands. It takes only 2 years for them to change the core characteristics of their species. It doesn't stop there. A most recent photograph of the beast that wreaked havoc in Japan reveals they now possess more human-like features and wings on their backs. These things can fly. That's the main reason South Korea and Japan have agreed to create a united team. Even a perfectly capable hunter would want to run away from a frightening magic beast like that. However, there's a retired hunter who musters up the courage to join the raid. One journalist wonders why Jin Woo isn't on the list. Another remarks that Jin Woo may have become an S rank, but he's still the same person. Once an E rank, always an E rank. He probably pissed his pants and ran away. Even Min Byung-gu comes out of retirement for this. While walking down the street and scrolling through social media, Jin Woo ponders that he doesn't really care about hate comments, but he worries about Gina. Jin Woo's phone rings. It's a call from Jin-ho. When Jin Woo asks if he's still staying at the motel, Jin-ho replies that he's found a new apartment. Luckily, his mother called and helped him out. Jin-ho informs Jin Woo that he's found an office space and asks if he has time to take a look. As Jin Woo arrives at the office, Jin-ho tells him they need an office if they want to form a guild and brags that he chose the best option near Jin Woo's apartment. Jin Woo remarks that this place is a bit too big for just the two of them. However, Jin-ho reminds him they need at least 3 hunters to establish a guildmaster, a vice guildmaster, and an employee. Jin Woo asks if that means he has to recruit 1 more person and thinks he'll just pick and choose a hunter he knows to fill the headcount. At that moment, Jin-ho mentions that someone has been looking for Jin Woo. It's a foreigner who wants Jin Woo to give them a call. They say they'll be in Korea until the 17th of July. Jin Woo wonders who that foreigner could be. Suddenly, Jin Woo senses something is wrong and needs to head back home. Using his shadow exchange ability, he vanishes from the spot, leaving a shadow behind. Jin-ho, left alone, is scared out of his wits. In one of the alleys of Jin Woo's neighborhood, a young woman is being forced by an ugly monster. He holds a knife to her throat, telling her if she shouts, he'll kill her. He adds that a few people have been murdered here, which is why he loves this neighborhood. The woman, trembling in fear, begs him not to kill her. Suddenly, Jin Woo arrives at the scene, calmly stating that he loves this neighborhood too. Out of curiosity, he asks the monster why he's doing this. The monster turns toward Jin Woo, dismissing the need for reasons and admitting he does it because it's fun. He lunges at Jin Woo with a knife in hand, attempting to overpower him, claiming that when he sets his sights on someone weaker than him, he gets the urge to harass them. Unfazed, Jin Woo asserts that he can somewhat relate to that. Once you get a taste, returning to normal life isn't easy. Jin Woo snatches the knife and slashes him on his thighs and ankles. The monster screams in pain, collapsing to the ground. Jin Woo remarks that it would have been nice to go home before it got so dark. The girl seizes the opportunity and runs away from the scene. Jin Woo instructs the monster to turn himself in before midnight if he wants to live. As a precaution, Jin Woo leaves a high-level orc shadow soldier behind. He tells the shadow soldier to kill the man if he doesn't turn himself in before midnight, and remembers that tomorrow's the day the Jeju Island Raid begins. The next day, the helicopter carrying the hunters flies toward Jeju Island. Goto finds himself unable to shake off the lingering impact of his encounter with Jin Woo. He feels suffocated as he recalls the moment he thought he felt death. Goto puts his hand on his face, wondering what's wrong with him. He's become overly sensitive. Meanwhile, off the coast of China and Taiwan, battleships sail in the ocean, ready for action. Near Jeju Island, a formidable fleet deploys. Jong-soo, the leader of the Knights Guild, reminds his team to brace themselves. He knows the ants might have caught on by now. They can come flying at any moment. Yoontae asks his leader if he reckons their strategy will work on the ants. Jong-soo asserts that they won't know until they try. Besides, it is their job as the defense team to stand guard in case something happens. They are in charge of killing any ants that fly their way and preventing them from reaching the mainland. Yoontae excitedly says that he knows he can count on their leader and declares that he will follow Jong-soo to the ends of the earth. Meanwhile, Ma Dong-wook tells his guild to stand guard and be ready for any ant attacks. His vice guildmaster remarks that there is nothing to watch out for. People call them the defense team, but in reality, they are the standby team. There isn't a single thing to do today. Dong-wook tells her that all of their guild members are on deck, so as the vice guildmaster, why doesn't she run through some tactical drills with them? But she doesn't know how she would do something like that because to her, vice guildmaster is nothing but a title. Dong-wook pats her head, saying their guild is able to grow thanks to her great management. She not only comes up with the symbol for their guild, but is also the one who decides to expand the scope of their activities. He tells her that he is grateful for all she has done because he sucks at management. The vice guildmaster says that she isn't feeling great about sending him out there, but tells him to make sure he gets back alive in one piece. In the Fiend Guild, Taegyu is furious about the deployment of Minsung. He yells at the association, stating that the ants might start showing up. He demands that Minsung be moved to the back, as far away from the ants as possible. Realizing that the troops are already deployed and can't be recalled, he instructs Minsung to find cover and stay hidden. Meanwhile, at the request of the Hunters Association, the hunters of each guild deploy to the south of the island. They station there because precautions have to be taken. Even if the raid succeeds, there is still a possibility that the remaining mutant ants will invade the mainland. Strike squads stationed to defend national territory, and each party consists of a B-rank leader, 3 C ranks, and more than 10 D ranks and E ranks. Even retired hunters join the fight, along with those who have awakened but chose not to become hunters. There are 5,000 of these individuals, which means that 1/10 of the 50,000 awakened beings in South Korea join the fight. The helicopter-carrying hunters approaches Jeju Island. Among them is a cameraman from a news agency that specializes in reporting about hunters. His job is to film hunters in action. The cameraman shakes hands with Beck, informing the hunters that this raid is going to be broadcast live nationwide. However, there will be a 10-minute delay before the footage airs, so their editing team will filter things out during that time. Beck remarks that he can't believe a cameraman is accompanying them on such a dangerous mission, wondering why on earth Chairman Go allows this. Dong-wook tells the cameraman that a truly successful hunter is one who has someone to protect. However, the cameraman still needs to take care of himself out there. The cameraman acknowledges this, saying they don't have to worry. He might not look like much, but he is still an A-rank hunter. Despite having their hunter's license, there are many awakened individuals who choose to live a normal life because they dislike raids. The cameraman, who has an A-rank hunter's license, is one of these individuals. The cameraman comments that he basically has 2 professions. This isn't his first time going to a dangerous filming location. He has even been sent to cover a few dungeon breaks. But of course, he isn't quite sure how helpful his past experiences will be this time around, as he trembles with nerves. Dong-wook tells him not to be so nervous, adding that the Hunters Association probably allows a cameraman to accompany them because they believe this 4th raid has a good chance of succeeding. He adds that this will be the first and last time civilians get to witness an S-rank raid. Plus, they have already failed 3 times before in Jeju, so everyone will be eagerly watching. He is determined to show them a clean victory. Beck ponders that, realistically speaking, if they fail this mission, the country of South Korea could be wiped off the face of the earth. The world is in dire need of heroes right now. He then strikes up a conversation with his close friend Byung-gu, saying he never thinks he'd see him here. Byung-gu jokes that he just feels like Baek would be the first to die without his heels, especially since he pounces every time he sees a beast. This prompts Hae-in to ask Baek if he has met with Jin Woo. Baek answers that he hasn't, asking why she asks. Hae-in dismisses it as a misunderstanding, and they finally arrive at the island. Meanwhile, Goto and his guild hunters are the first to reach Jeju Island. As they walk through the devastated landscape, they witness the massacre the ants have caused in the city. Goto notes that this used to be Jeju City, now a complete ghost town. Dead ants litter their path, and he observes that these corpses appear to have been cannibalized by other ants, suggesting the presence of a predator among them. Goto, maintaining communication, requests a roll call. Each team responds promptly, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta, confirming their positions. Goto orders them to open the floodgates. In response, huge levels of mana explode throughout the island, sending powerful waves of energy through the air. Baek and Young-in, observing the scene, conclude that the Japanese must have launched the operation. Suddenly, hundreds and thousands of ants begin flying out of the mountain, swarming the sky. As the mutant ants spot the approaching helicopter, they react with startling speed, shooting up into the sky like menacing projectiles. Jong-in takes the front and starts attacking them with flame spears. However, the ants aren't completely eradicated. Jong-in comments that he knows this will happen. This much firepower isn't enough to take them down. He prepares a massive fireball, telling his team to hold on tight as there might be some turbulence. He launches his blazing inferno onto the ants, taking them down in a brilliant burst of flames. He comments that the ants have evolved quite a lot. They aren't like they used to be. His fire attack would suffice in an A-rank dungeon, but these ants have a high resistance to magic. He needs to use greater force, but for starters, he has to gauge how strong they are. Jong-in jumps out of the helicopter, creating a footing with his fire magic. Ma Dong-wook shows concern, wondering if Jong-in will be okay. Ha-in answers that he should be fine, especially since his fire magic specializes in fighting multiple opponents. Jong-in lands on the ground with a fierce fire blast, toasting the ants all around. He remarks that the last time he played with ants was when he was a little boy. He remembers hearing faint snapping noises every time he torched an ant with a lighter. Now, he hears fireworks. Standing amidst the blazing ruins, Jong-in tells his fellow hunters that they can now come down. Dong-wook realizes that, unlike their previous attempts, they won't have an escape route this time around. They could very well end up trapped inside the ant tunnels. The Japanese hunters can only stall for about an hour, so they have to defeat the queen in that time frame. He asks if anyone wants to say something before they jump. While telling them to keep it short, he says they've got this in the bag before jumping out of the helicopter. I'll drop the link to the next part in the comments as soon as it's ready. In the meantime, check out these playlists.